A quarter of a century ago, the pursuit of perfect sound took a different path. KV2 audio began with a simple premise: to bring art and science together, to reveal and to transfer the true emotion of a performance. From the earliest experiments in ultra-high-resolution analog circuitry to pioneering transducer designs, the mission was clear: preserve every detail, every transient, every moment of musical truth. Born from George Crampera's lifelong passion for audio, KV2 set out to challenge industry assumptions. Instead of chasing trends, the company focused on fundamentals: ultra-fast electronics, true-point source loudspeakers, and a commitment to minimize distortion at every stage of the signal path. The result was super live audio, an approach that prioritizes timing, coherence, definition over distance, and real dynamic range. As technology evolved, so did the scale of the projects. KV2 systems found their way into iconic theaters, world-class concert halls, global touring productions, and some of the most demanding festival stages and clubs on the planet. From the West End and Broadway to famous opera houses, from precision-critical classical performances to the world's most powerful electronic music venues, the goal remained unchanged: deliver sound as it was meant to be heard. Today, KV2 stands as a unique, innovation-driven company with world-leading R&D dedicated to pushing boundaries. What began as a different approach has become a global benchmark for clarity, power, and timeless engineering. This is the KV2 story. Over 2 decades of passion, precision, and the relentless pursuit of perfect sound.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to KV2 Audio Demo. Thank you for being with us today. I know there's a lot on at the show, so we really appreciate your time. Now, you probably saw in the slideshow there a little bit about KV2 in the past, and bringing us forward to where we are today. Just going to turn on my pointer. Sorry, Ian. Have you just done that? Okay. Great, so KV2 today, we have a much bigger facility than we used to have, of course. We've got more employees and staff as well. We're doing things like surface mount technology on our electronics now, which we all manufacture in-house. And of course the CNC machines as well. So we're a modern company driven by our passion. So over 25% of our workforce are still in R&D and engineering, which shows that even as a company with traditional values, we are committed to innovating. And that all comes from our founder, George Crampera, who wanted to eliminate distortion and loss of information in the signal path. George wanted to transfer the emotion of a performance. So when you're in the audience and you're watching the performers on stage, you can really feel it. The hairs come up on the back of your neck. And when he produced a speaker system, he just wanted to make people smile as they listened to it and enjoyed it. So we have a whole range of speakers these days. Today we're going to just take you through a few of those ranges and give you some examples of how they may be used in different applications. So for example, our first application is retail, hospitality and marine. On cruise ships you might want to offer guests something very special for a unique experience. In a top quality restaurant, they may believe that the background music's something that should be as good as their food. Or if you want in a bar a really powerful system by night that can be invisible by day, that's where a KV2 system can really come in. The first product we're going to share with you today is perfect for those kind of applications, and it's part of our ESD range called the Cube. You'll notice the 2 little speakers are illuminated, so apart from the big one on the screen, that's the actual scale of the system you're going to listen to. It's available in any RAL colour so it can blend into its environment, but it has the KV2 technology and transcoil within there as well. So it sounds like a real system in the way that KV2 systems can deliver. Let's enjoy some music on the ESD cubes, running with a single subwoofer as well.
Must be a million boys living in a great big city. I know that one of them is just right for me. I look up, down, 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 all around searching. I know he's out there waiting for me. I know somewhere somebody,
I'm looking for somebody.
somewhere somebody waiting for me. Somebody's searching, praying, everywhere in the world. You know the street lights shine and passing things.
Waste my time.
I'm just trying to catch somebody's eye. But all the should have been, would have been, might have been, and could have been, slipping away. And they walk right on by. I know somewhere somebody,
I'm looking for somebody.
somewhere somebody,
Someone
waiting for me. Somewhere somebody, searching, free to be where in the world. I walk through the rain that's falling, neighbors in the distance calling.
So for our technology, we're going to introduce you to Super Live Audio, which is the three pillars of KV2's philosophy. So in terms of the three disciplines, we have super analog, we have super acoustic, and then we have super digital on the end. And when we look at super analog, we can tell you that we don't use any Class D amplifiers or off-the-shelf designs. We've developed bespoke electronics to specifically match the components that they're going to drive. So with our high-frequency sections, we use Class AB for lower distortion and extended frequency response. Now, analog in the 21st century isn't what it used to be in the 70s and 80s, but it is very expensive, and many manufacturers simply can't justify that. However, our hand-selected op-amps give us settling times that are up to 10 times faster than most of our competitors. So here we see a typical op-amp that will be used in lots of the equipment around the show with a 10 microsecond settling time, and when we compare that with KV2, we have 1 microsecond. You might say, okay, well, why does that matter? But it actually translates into an incredible impulse response that really helps you to hear the attack and detail of instruments, as well as improving other elements like feedback rejection. That's important if you've got 30 head mics on a stage and you need to get high quality audio out to the audience. In terms of actual speaker design, we have the super acoustic true point source loudspeakers, which are going to give consistent and coherent coverage. Components we've developed include transcoil technology, where we have 2 coils, which show the amplifier almost zero inductance, and again the end result is that we actually have 10 times less distortion of the majority of single coil loudspeakers. So if we see a typical speaker in the graph here, and then a KV2 version using transcoil, in those critical mid-range frequencies, we have 10 times less distortion. On the digital side, super digital. So we've of course embraced digital technology, but we realize the limitations of 48 and even some 96 kilohertz processors. So at KV2 we developed our own system that has the highest sampling rate of any professional speaker system in the world today. And you can see on the screen, it's running at an absolutely massive 20 megahertz. And when you compare that to the original signal going in, it's the closest rendition coming out, even compared with 96K. So we looked at the initial systems for the retail hospitality. We're going to take you to another sector now, where we do particularly well, and that is in theatre. So theatres need highly intelligible speech. They need very natural musical presentations and even coverage over the entire audience area. Ideally, fewer loudspeakers for improved sightlines as well. And one of the speakers that we use to do this is our EX28 from the Active range. Active speakers were quite often used in early theatre shows, and so this is our version of the 88. The great thing with KV2 active speakers is we don't need DSP in there to fix the problems or work the box, which means we have very minimal latency in there to start with, and that really helps keep things under control and improve the dynamic range. So let's have a listen to a couple of tracks in a theatre environment with our EX28s and the EX1.8 subwoofers running as well.
You're hot, then you're not. You better learn to bounce. If something goes wrong, that's alright. Bounce along, just travel light. You go off the track, don't look back. That's the thing that counts. You hit a few bumps, you make a few gaps. You learn how to bounce. You take a few lumps, you have a few laughs, and all the while you bounce.
Now, another speaker we do really well in theatre with is our ESR 215, and you might look at this initially and say, gosh, it's a big speaker. But when you consider this can actually replace multiple line array elements, it starts to make sense. So as a real world example of that, Mamma Mia, the international tour going all around the world, was using 28 of a particular well-known line array, and they replaced them with just 4 of these boxes instead to cover the same 2,000 to 3,000 capacity theatres, obviously with subs as well. But it meant they had a much quicker setup time, they had better sight lines as well, and it just made sense, as well as losing a truck from the tour, which made the producers very, very happy. So once you start to think about that, then you realise how a larger point source solution can really make a difference in today's markets. So we're going to play the ESR 215 as a full-range solution today. It's still in the theatre environment, so no subwoofers running, just the boxes on its own.
Why does Saigon never sleep at night? Why does this girl smell of orange trees? How can I feel good when nothing's right? Why is she cool when there is no breeze? Vietnam, you don't give answers, dear friend. Just questions that don't ever end. Why, God? Why today? I'm all through here, on my way. There's nothing left here that I'll miss. Why send me now a night like this? Who is the girl in this rusty bed? Why am I back in a filthy room? Why is her voice ringing in my head? Why am I high on the cheek?
So that was theatre, but in the house of worship market, we have an equal requirement for high quality speech. We need natural, even coverage over distance and exceptional coherence, because a lot of these environments are very reverberant. That's where the ESR column speaker, the 10.6, comes in its own. So you see on the left and right there, it's a much more small profile in terms of the column layout, but it doesn't sound like a traditional column speaker. It's not the sort of thing you'd hear in a railway station or maybe some other places around the show. This is a real KV2 speaker. It's incredibly musical. It has very good bass response as well, which again you wouldn't expect from a column speaker. So as we go to the church, let's listen to a pair of ESR 106s.
Take me to the church house.
So next we move on to live and arenas, and KV2's point source systems offer a highly credible solution, an alternative for large-scale sound reinforcement. You don't have to use an array necessarily. So we can offer uniform coverage, controlled dispersion, we can throw over long distances as well, even though it's a point source solution. Don't believe what everybody tells you that point source doesn't throw. So for example, with our VHD5 system, we can throw easily over 100 meters with high frequency for good definition at those sort of lengths. There's less need for delay towers. Typically with an array you may put a delay tower at 50 or 60 meters, but easily 100 meters is achievable when you're using the VHD5. Now at this point we would say, oh, let's have a listen to the arena system, but of course we can't do that in here, so we'll say not. But what we can do is we can show you some examples of where it's being used. So, for example, the Winter Olympics, we've got outdoor concerts, there's sports stadiums, places like the Red Bull Stadium, arena theatre shows, large outdoor EDM festivals, so dance music and clubs. Lots of those all choosing KV2 because of the high quality that it can offer in these larger environments. So just to remind you how that's possible, we're talking about KV2 being a point source solution with consistent and coherent coverage. Compare that to a line array where the sound is potentially arriving at different times from different elements. And even industry experts who support the line array theory accept that it has its challenges, like comb filtering, and regardless of the clever waveguides and multiple DSP processes that you apply, they can't ignore the laws of physics. Unfortunately, air moves randomly. And however perfect an array system works in a laboratory, as soon as you get random air moving around from an audience or outside in the field with the wind, it will affect it. And you've probably been to a concert where you've heard suddenly the sound drifting in and out and it's cancelling itself out. That won't happen in the same way or as much with a point source solution. In terms of showing you that with data, well, this is data we've got from a well-known European manufacturer's website, so I'm sure you'll have seen their speakers on a lot of the shows. It's a 24-box, large format 2x12 line array, and we're just going to compare that to VHD5 with some ISE data. And you can see at 100 meters what's happening and the difference in the coverage from a typical 24-box line array versus a VHD5. As we move up to 5 kilohertz, the same thing is obvious. And then finally, at 10 kilohertz. So hopefully you can see visually that a point source system can actually cover, and actually in many ways, perhaps more effectively than an array system can. But we would ask you to do this yourself. Go and get the data from manufacturers' websites. Have a look. Download our data as well and see, or even better still, come to a concert and hear a KV2 system in a large arena. We can give you another example of this from just about 6 weeks ago, which was in Indonesia, a large concert. But in this case, not the big VHD5 we showed you. The hangs here are double VHD2s, which measure just 2 meters high by 70 centimeters wide. So it's a really compact system. And yet it's throwing 85 meters to the back. It's going up 20 meters high without delays, and covering 16,000 people in the arena. Now the organisers, who had used, again, another famous European brand for the last few years, said this is the first time that they've had, in their words, crystal clear high frequency all the way at the back of the arena. They couldn't believe it, and they're committed to using KV2 going forwards for these projects. So even in an arena with high reverberation times, you can hear details like cymbals, ride cymbals, hi-hats, in a way that you wouldn't normally experience. A lot of arena gigs, we're told, sound like the train is running behind the band. There's just a noise constantly there. So you need extra high definition to break through that. And it's no coincidence that many of our competitors are actually returning to point source-based designs where they can. But because we've been doing this for 25 years, we have the technology to be able to also apply it in large-scale arenas as well. Connectivity, well, a KV2 amplifier system, initially analog in its front end, although there are other options that you can apply, and conversions will allow you to put Dante in there if you want to, or digital sources. We just don't want to apply DSP and latency for you at our end. We want to give you a blank canvas on which to work, so then whatever you want to do with the system and your processing for the gig is up to you. What about environmental benefits? Well, this year we're celebrating that we've become ISO 14001, and we're very proud of that. But the other key thing is with KV2, you are going to use fewer loudspeakers. That means less weight, less transport, you're going to use less electricity to drive them, and it's going to be much quicker to set up as well. In terms of reliability and obsolescence, we're talking about systems that have at least a 15 to 20 year lifespan. There are systems going around the world today from KV2 that have been performing flawlessly for that sort of length of time, which is why we're announcing at the show that we're going to introduce a 10-year warranty on all our amplifiers and electronics from this point forwards. We're not worried about that because we've built the reliability into the product, but for you it gives you a great peace of mind that you can go out and do a show. Significantly as well for KV2, we're not going to tell you you have to replace every 2 or 3 years with the latest system just to become a KV2 partner. We're actually delighted if you've got a 10-year-old system that still sounds great and that people are enjoying real music through. That's what makes us so ecologically great, and as beyond our badge, we are genuinely a green system. At this point, we're going to play some more music, but before I do, just say thank you to the Hologrammica team. Liz is here in case you want to find out about the holograms. It's really added something to our presentation today, and Panasonic, who've helped us with the projection as well. And that takes me on to our final sector, which is going to tell you about the club market. And Jan may need to help me with that. Excellent. Okay, so in clubs, we talked about classical music concerts, we talked about theatres, but the DJs also love KV2. And the reason is that beyond the highest PL, we've got very controlled bass, fast transient response, and they want to hear the detail and the clarity in their mixes as well. They are artists and performers in their own right. The club owners love a reliable system where they're not replacing cones every few weeks, so that's a bonus with the KV2 system as well. In terms of the products that we have, we're going to show you today one of those, and you'll find this in famous clubs like Amnesia in Ibiza, huge club of the world nominations in the US, in China the biggest clubs, and Asia are using SL412. So it's a very slimline speaker that won't take up much space. Again, KV2's minimal latency electronics, there's no DSP in there, so you don't need to worry about that, and you have multiple subwoofer options that can run with this as well. We are going to play some club music through it in a moment. Before we do, I think we would like you to appreciate the quality of SL as well, because it is a musical speaker. You'll actually find this in the Vienna Opera House as well as Amnesia in Ibiza, and that's a crazy concept, but KV2 offers a blank canvas. Whatever you want to put into our speakers, it will deliver. So let's enjoy the quality of SL412, and then we'll come back with some more club music after that. Just one small disclaimer before we play the club music as well. When we were setting up, we did lose a couple of pieces of plasterboard which fell out of the ceiling. So we've been told not to run at full 100%, so probably we're going to go up to maybe half the volume. But you'll still get the idea of the sensation of what's possible with a defined and fast transient club system. The double 21s you'll find are quite dynamic as well, not the typical effect sub is often the case with that kind of speaker. A little taster on the club side. And as one final announcement for clubs here at ISE, we can announce after 35 years of using another famous brand, the Ministry of Sound in London have actually decided the DJs wanted an upgrade there as well, and they moved over to KV2 in the main room, so we're very proud to be associated with there as well. Thank you so much for giving us your time today, for coming and listening to our demo. We really appreciate sharing the KV2 story with you. We're in Hall 7, stand K880. Please come and see us on there. We have literature information down here as well. And also there's 10 minutes more where we're allowed to play music. So if you'd like to hear anything else a little bit more delicate, or some of the smaller speakers again, please come and see us and we'll do that for you as well. We're also back for another demo in 1.5 hours, and we'd love to see you another time. Thank you.